My name is Faisal. I am a grade 12 student here at Barrie North Collegiate Institute. Politics for me has always been about representing people. And when I was a kid, I always learned about stories of social justice, people getting treated unfairly, and I heard stories about people not being able to make it in this world because of the circumstances they had. And in my mind, politicians then became the people who are supposed to try and alleviate these issues and guide us into the future of what we need to be. Since I was a kid, I wanted a career in politics. For me, it's always been the fact that I think I can represent people pretty well. I've lived in a lot of different situations, a lot of different walks of life, and I've seen a lot of different things. I think I can take that into politics when I do go one day, which it will happen. I'm going to get there. Young people like me are worried about a lot of different things. I think the number one is our economy as we go forward. The housing market right now is egregious. They're worried they won't be able to get a home. The people who want to start a family are worried they won't be able to do that. And the other thing is political extremism. A lot of young people are getting hopeless and they want to go to a camp that'll help them out, and they think political extremism might be the way to do that. Rational decision making is something I think we need to bring back. I think it is very difficult in today's political climate for young people to speak out. They're under a lot of scrutiny through social media. There's a whole idea of cancel culture, people being afraid to speak out for what they believe in, even if it's not the popular thing. I understand people's opinions might be negative to some people and positive to others, but that's no excuse for people not to be able to speak out. And this culture we're breeding of like a mob mentality, I don't think it's good for young people, and I don't think it's good for young people's voices. I think politicians in power understand the issues that the young people face because it's impossible to not see them. The age disconnect is real, especially when you look at social media. And this is how most politicians are getting out to the youth nowadays. They try and use slang or attack with certain trends. In reality, youth just want to see the news like everyone else. We want to understand things. We want to be treated like adults most of the time. If people who are politically interested, they're politically interested. Politicians who think that the youth just want to hear a funny sound and a funny clip are out of touch with how youth actually feel. Biggest piece of advice I'd give to them to stay informed is to actually listen to the news. I know it might be non-entertaining to sit down, read the news, or watch it, but it's beneficial hearing what's going on in the world and seeing how certain ideologies pan out. I know going on TikTok or Instagram and watching news come to you essentially, it's more entertaining that way and you get the popular pieces, but it doesn't paint the whole picture a lot of the time. I've got a lot of hope for the future of Canada. I think we're a beautiful bastion of what democracy can be. And going into the future, Canada has an opportunity to lead the world in multiple different facets, whether it be economically, our developments through automotive technology or transportation technology. We have an opportunity here having vast environmental resources and a lot of intelligent and well-meaning people to move forward. And young people like myself can lead this change by getting involved in politics and really stating your voice and not trying to leave it all to other people, right? Your vote does count, and make sure you do go to the polls and vote.